Videos, I'm in my garage. It is about 7 p.m. We are hungry, so I am cooking Simon on our grill. It has an outside burner because we don't have any electric. And then I go to the window to just film the smoke again. This time the smoke is a dark black and I can see a red helicopter just came out of the smoke. So here's the videos. All right, cooking Simon on the grill burner in our garage. In the garage.
Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. So in today's video, I'm going to be exploring the narrative about, I guess, the explanation for why there was no craft allowed in the air during the time of the fires. Now, this came up pretty early on, and I think, there was a narrative kind of given out to the officials to tell the public and tell the media, because if there was no water in the pipes going to Lahaina, why couldn't they have taken water from the open air reservoir, which there is one not too far, or the ocean, which is, Maui is surrounded by water. There are craft that can pick up that water and drop it on the fire. Now, the official narrative is that there was a hurricane that was passing by Maui, Hurricane Dora, that was causing winds, so that's why there were no craft allowed into the air.
Now we want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Mark Fine. Mark, what are the winds like right now in Maui? Because we know the winds were a big problem for fueling this fire early on.
Well, yeah, but it's a typical trade winds that they have. Here are the winds that we have right now. And here's Maui, and here's the airport that you land on when you go into Hawaii. And they have a northeasterly wind of 25. Keep in mind that all the damage that you've been seeing is from Lahaina, which is right here. And then on that side of the island, that's the dry side of the island. So between the airport and Lahaina, there's a mountain. And so then when you get the winds coming down that mountain, it's a very dry north wind. It's kind of like when we get our downslope winds on the west slope of the Sierra sometimes. So that's why you have not only very low humidity here, but also very gusty winds. And so once a fire starts, it can spread very quickly. But yeah, these are typical trade winds from the east and to the northeast. Now, there's been a lot of attribution given to the Hurricane Dora, but I really don't think that this hurricane has had anything to do with the winds here. Here's where the storm is now. It's a powerful hurricane. It's a Category 4 hurricane, but here are where the islands are. And yeah, right now the storm is moving away, and the closest this storm got was 600 miles. So I really don't think this played much in the way of a role at all in the winds, but they have had classic trade winds, and they'll continue with winds like that. But the problem in that area is it can be very dry, and once a fire starts with the trade winds gusting down those slopes, a fire can spread very quickly, and it obviously had devastating impacts on the town of Lahaina.
Not only that, there are missing satellite images during the time of the fire, but there is no proof that there was a hurricane, or that hurricane they were talking about was creating these winds. I believe he says the closest the hurricane got to Maui was 600 miles. So that's just way too far to affect the island. Also, a hurricane usually comes with rain, and the lieutenant governor, she did mention, rain. I've not seen any pictures or heard any witnesses say that there was rain during the fire.
But hurricanes, we're dealing with severe rain condition. We're dealing with how do you deal with some type of hurricane situation.
Whatever response the state could do, but because of the winds, we couldn't start our helicopters and we couldn't launch them in commitment. We're ready. We're ready to go. So the narrative you're pushing is not totally accurate.
Don't you think it's
85 miles per hour. You think about that. That's a mile a minute. From and even the fire department that was there on the ground.
And the fire department could not allow choppers to take water from the reservoir because of the 80-mile-per-hour winds. So And and I know you know.
Also, a lot of people that lived in or were in like Kihei did not experience these really strong winds. So I know there's some explanation as to how that could have been. The wind could have been localized because of the demographics of the land, but it is a little suspicious that there were very strong winds on the ground where the fire was, yet there was no hurricane. And a lot of people have come forward and said that there were very unusually strong winds whipping the fire around. There's even, and I'll look for this clip of a man who was in the Civic Center. He escaped the fire.
It was a firestorm. I know what. There was tornadoes of ash the size of charcoal from a barbecue, like being thrown by baseball players. I'm ducking behind walls. I had to kick in the door at Bubba Gump's to get out of it because I was getting pounded. And then Bubba Gump started on fire, and I'm running down Front Street, and the wall, there's like 80 people, and the ocean was on fire. Firefighter told me because the first layer of ash causes a seal, and then the next layer of ash was all the embers. So the tide line was on fire, and I had to jump through the water and come up through the fire. And 80 people, they were on the wall. Everybody started jumping in. Coast Guard was out there grabbing people, and I was like, no, I'm good. I was born in the water. I'm a Kai. And they're grabbing people, and I swam. I knew my phone was only good for like 15 seconds being submerged, then swam for like a half-mile north. It was like nothing you've ever seen. This was bad that the people in their cars that were dead and from asphyxiation and the fire blew out the car, and you just saw the numbers of the dead are so wrong.
I've heard that a number of times, that there were really pretty large embers being whipped around and hitting people. And I did hear of someone that was in the water whose hair caught on fire because of one of these embers. So I'm not saying that there were no strong winds. There definitely was, but it was not from a hurricane. And there is a lot of evidence that craft were allowed in the air during this time. Now, another thing that I don't know if is very obvious, but so for example, that TikTok video was taken around 7 p.m. That was not too late for craft to be, used or utilized to either put the fire out or rescue people, because around 5:40, I believe the timestamp is 5:46, there were reports of people jumping in the water to escape the fire. And a lot of people did this. Now, a craft could have been used to locate these people and rescue them. A helicopter is capable of rescuing people from the water even at night, and helicopters are able to function very well at night. I think most of us know that. So there really is no excuse, especially when it came to the later hours. There was no excuse why choppers were not able to help with the rescue. Now, it brings up another question of what that craft that I have pictures of was doing in the air. Now, I don't know too much about advanced military technology, but my friend Norm in Alaska did send me this image, and it is I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's produced by Raytheon. It's a multispectral targeting system. So as early as 2014, Raytheon has this technology and has been producing these craft. And so it's a fact that it does exist. The thing that makes the craft in the skies in Maui suspicious is that there's no marking. It doesn't say Navy on those choppers or that chopper. But something very interesting, if you look really closely, and I'll try to blow this up as much as possible. If you look at the Raytheon picture, there's an emblem above the front landing gear. It's kind of like a round thing with something in it. You can see that kind of in the Lahaina craft, but it looks like it was covered up. I can't be sure, but it looks like there was something there. It's just not as easy to see, but there does look like there was some kind of circular something there. So whether maybe it was removed or covered up or something, I don't know. But I'm pretty confident that the craft that was in the skies over Maui is the same technology that Raytheon has and has been producing for the Navy for some time now, for almost 10 years. So yeah, I really wanted to bring this out and let as many people know. So please share this with as many people as you can. And I feel like the more I look into this, the more credible evidence I find that goes against the official narrative. And another interesting thing is that when you hear these officials talking about the winds, they all kind of have about the same, it's usually like 80 or 85 miles an hour. Someone had to have told them that. There's no way that they experienced that themselves and knew somehow that that was the case. That information had to have been fed to them. I don't see how else they would have known. Also, there's a lot of drone footage that has been out for some time during the fire at night. So if a drone could have been in the air, I'm pretty sure a chopper could have gone in the air. And it's just hard to imagine why there was such a lag in the rescue effort. But certainly a water rescue with a helicopter would have been possible, and it is really a shame that this excuse has been given as to why that didn't happen. If someone that I knew had to jump in the water and I found out that there was an effort to not allow craft in the air, I would just be so frustrated and so angry that there wasn't a stronger effort put forth to not just put the fire out with a craft, but to rescue people. So I don't know if everyone realizes that there were people in the water for a long time. I heard one woman say that she was in the water for 8 hours, and we do know that not everyone that jumped in survived. I did a video, I'll link these videos down below. I'll put the one with the weather altering technology down below, and then I'll also put the clip of how I think it was a Maui fire and rescue were going in the water with divers to recover things and possibly looking for survivors. But yeah, I've not heard of a craft being used for any kind of rescue. I did hear, and I don't have pictures of this, but I did hear that people who were injured by the fire were airlifted to Oahu. I just don't know exactly when that happened or exactly how that happened. It could have happened kind of after the fact, after the fire was put out. I'm not sure. But there's just so much out there suggesting that this narrative about craft not being able to go in the air because of the hurricane, that was just an excuse. So I hope you guys found this video interesting and helpful. And if you do know someone that would like to know, please share this video with them. And if you are subscribed, if you can check to see if you're still subscribed, I would really appreciate it. I noticed more recently my subscribers being taken off, and I've heard from a few of you guys saying that they have been unsubscribed a number of times. So if you can check that out, I would really appreciate it. And that's going to do it for today. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye.